Who's your favorite president to read about?
Oh, God, that's tough. I mean, Abraham Lincoln was absolutely amazing. George Washington was one of the most amazing men to ever live. He really, really was. I mean, this guy, he was the richest man in America. Most people don't realize that.
I didn't know that, actually.
As a percent of GDP, he was richer than Trump.
So he's like the Trump of his time.
When he passed away, when George Washington passed away, he was the richest man of the United States.
Wow.
The reason why when he was young, he was a surveyor, and he bought land, and he knew how to subdivide it, and sell it off.
He got in real estate.
Yeah, he was the first big real estate tycoon. But so you got to think, the richest man in the United States, okay, in the colonies, and he was willing to risk all of that for the revolution. Because if it went the other way, he would have been executed, all of his land, everything he owned would be taken away from him.
Wow.
The stories you read about him, I mean, the real stories, because, but like, if he was in his tent eating dinner and a corporal walked in the door, he would not eat in front of him because it was rude. Just everything about him was pretty amazing. I mean, he did not cut down a cherry tree, but he was an incredibly honest man, a very moral man. He saw, he saw the potential of a great country.
Okay? Wish they taught this in history class.
There's so much stuff you'll never hear in history class about, like the Boston Tea Party. Everybody thought it was a terrible act. Didn't become patriotic till like the 1820s. Yeah. That's because John Hancock was a straight up gangster.
Was he?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, they didn't teach that. Yeah, they definitely didn't mention that.
He made all of his money off smuggling tea. Okay, so, all right, I'm sure that's not the podcast you imagine, but I love talking about my weird stories. So, John Hancock was a smuggler. That was his main business, was smuggling. The way it worked, and with the whole British colony system, the British East India Company would go to India, they would get tea, and then the way the law was, they would actually literally, they couldn't go straight from India to the colonies. They had to go take the ship to Britain, okay? They would look at the tea, tax the tea, and then they could bring it to the United States. But the British East India Company was the only company that could sell tea to the United States. And it was very expensive. The Dutch were selling tea for like 50% less than the British. And every American drank like a gallon of tea a day.
Wow.
Well, they had to. Because they knew if they drank water, they'd get sick. But if they drank tea, they wouldn't. No one sat around and says, well, you got to boil the water to make tea. So he made all of his money. He was actually brought to court once for smuggling, but everyone knew you don't try to convict a gangster because something bad will happen to you. So he never got convicted of it. So these 3 ships come into Boston Harbor full of tea with a proclamation from the British government. You know what? We've taken all the taxes off it. Okay, we've taken all the old taxes off. Now there's just a small stamp tax. It's coming straight from India, so it's a lot less money. And literally, this tea was like priced at less than what he bought his warehouses full of tea from the Dutch. He gets Sam Adams, who was like kind of his muscle, and they dress up like Indians because Indians walked all around the streets and everything like that. So it's just a convenient disguise, and they threw all the tea overboard. He did it 100% out of greed. He didn't want his tea being worth less. Wow. And everyone was really, really upset about it. Like even George Washington wrote about it saying it was a terrible crime. But the British government, the way they retaliated against us because of it was really bad. They said like all the business owners in Boston had to pay for the tea and all this other stuff. But John Hancock threw that tea overboard strictly out of greed. And it wasn't until like probably the 1820s that suddenly it was a patriotic thing.
Wow. That is crazy. The real Boston Tea story.
Yeah, that's the real Boston Tea Party story.
If you could.
Yeah, so like there's a million stories like that in politics.
Yeah, but it's all how they frame it in the history books, right?
Yeah, so that's why John Hancock's signature was so big on the Declaration of Independence, because he was the president of the Continental Congress. And by the time this whole Continental Congress thing had got along, British had issued a warrant for his arrest. It's never been confirmed, but the rumor was that when General Howell went to Lexington and Concord to seize the arms, he also had a warrant in his pocket for the arrest of John Hancock and Sam Adams.
Wow.
So John Hancock had to join this revolution thing because it would work out for him if they won. If they didn't, it was going to be really bad for him.
He had no other choice.
Yeah, and that's why, but his signature was so big because he was the president of the Continental Congress. We had presidents before George Washington.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, George Washington was the first president under our current Constitution. We had the Continental Congress that had, I think, like 12 different presidents. Then we had the Articles of Confederation, and then we had the Constitution.
Wow. Yeah, they always taught us George was the first.
Oh, yeah, we had other people. I mean, that's the first of like the country formed underneath our Constitution. But we had guys before that.
If you could live in any time period, what would you choose?
Oh, that'd be so tough. Probably the Roman Empire.
Really? You didn't live long back then, though.
I know, but it was just, God, it was such an amazing. I mean, if I had my choice, it would really be today. But if I had to choose a different point, it would be the Roman Empire. It was such I mean, the things they did, it was just absolutely amazing. I mean, the things that they were able to build, I don't know. I just think I've just been fascinated with Rome my whole life.
Yeah, we can't even recreate some of those buildings today, right?
Wait, you look at the Pantheon. It was like there wasn't a domed building until like the late 1800s. I mean, the Roman sewer systems weren't duplicated until the 20th century.
Wow. Why do you think they were so ahead of their time?
They had good government. It was because this is really like. This is another thing you don't read here in school. The Roman government was basically a religion. Okay. And up until, let's say, like 100 BC, they were always afraid of getting conquered. So they always had to do well. I mean, we have to build stuff right. We have to do this right. We have to fit out the army correctly. You know, we can't have any graft or stealing stuff because there's all these other people always trying to kill us. You know, we had that Carthage, you know, the Gauls. I mean, everybody like that. So they had to be really, really good in order to survive. And then, right around 180, there was no one left that could beat them. And they continued to grow and everything for like another 200 years. But like after that, it just began to fall apart. Too much bureaucracy and too much lead poisoning and too much welfare. And they tried to go out too far. There was a lot of different things.
Yeah. Wow. Did they ever find out it was lead poisoning or they had no idea?
Oh, no, they had no idea. They had no clue.
Wow.
They did not understand the scientific method yet. Yeah. Let's give 100 sheep wine with no lead in it. Let's give 100 sheep with lead in it. You know, if they ever did that study, they would have found out, oh, yeah, lead thing's bad.
Damn, that's crazy. Roman Empire. Okay. That's a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
You would have lived to like 30, maybe 40, but good years.
There was a lot of people that lived a long time. I
Really?
think Augustus lived into his 70s, yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Would have been a sweet life. Wow.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode.